Dave, we've got a special guest tonight, all the way from Texas. It's going to be our Special Agent 003, Mr. Brandon Jacobs. Brandon, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing very good, Mike. How are you doing?
Well, I'm good, except we had hoped to get this a little bit into episode 81, but some bad playing on my part and lost track of time. And we want to get you on here to talk about your show. You're chairing a show down there in College Station, I believe. Won't you fill us in a little bit about what you got going on?
All right, we've got the second annual WinterBlitz coming up this Saturday, January 21st, 2023. And it's going to be once again held in College Station, Texas at the Museum of the American G.I.
All right. This is the second year you've done this. It's the same facility, same museum. Why don't you talk about the museum there a little bit and what folks might expect to see there?
The museum's a perfect backdrop to a scale armor contest in that it has, I should probably know the exact number, but I don't. 20, 30 fully restored military vehicles, all United States. Everything from a World War I FT-17 all the way up to a Sherman tanks, all kinds of cool armor and other artifacts. It's not strictly a vehicle museum. There's also military artifacts as well.
Dave and I went to a show in the Cincinnati show up here has moved to an aviation museum, a small aviation museum, and I would have to agree that that can really immerse you in the element.
It kind of sets the mood, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
What we hope is, and the museum has done a really good job of promoting it, and hopefully we get some people who say, wow, I've never been to a scale model contest, and I've always wanted to see the museum, and now this is a good excuse to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a lot of synergy. Now, this is your second annual, so last year was your inaugural show. What are you all changing for this year based on what happened last year?
We haven't significantly made. First of all, for a first annual show, it was extremely successful. We had, I believe it was 42 contestants and 276 models, or entries, I should say. We found success, so therefore we didn't have to reinvent much, but we did massage, if you will, some of the categories. So I would say that's some of the changes for this year.
Well, how did you change the categories? Is that based on what showed up last year, or did you add some stuff hoping to attract new items in underserved categories, or what changes did you make?
We did eliminate a category that was underattended last year, and we're trying to be a little creative. Obviously, there's 22 categories, and they're all your typical 1/48 scale, 1/72nd, fully tracked origins. But one of the things we missed last year, and we kind of ad hoc'd it, was a youth category. No youth category. That's one thing we added this year.
Good ad.
Anybody who's younger than 18 years old can compete. We decided something fun, and I don't know when you guys go to shows and you go look at the box stock categories, right? And there's a 1975 Tamiya kit trying to compete against a 2021 TACOM kit, right? And it's just not even fair. We created a category for this year called Classic Kits. And Classic Kits is the kit must have been first produced prior to 1979. So it's essentially, what can you do with an antique kit? And it's not out of the box, but it's basic build, meaning no aftermarket parts. Let's see what you can do with an older kit.
Well, and IPMS has experimented, in fact, in Omaha last year. They went to a new, instead of out of the box, they went to basic kit build with kind of similar ideas to try and take into account that kits released 30 or 35 years ago were completely different from what you open up in a TACOM or a Ryefield Models kit today.
Definitely, and I think we stole that idea from IPMS. But
that's borrowed, not stole. It's borrowed.
We borrowed.
Yeah, there you go. As your ad hoc attorney, I advise you the word is borrowed.
Well, you mentioned something that we want to make sure folks are aware of. This is still, I wouldn't say it's armor centric. It's an armor show for the most part, save the adjacent stuff. Like, is there figure categories? Why don't you give us a kind of
absolutely
a little shakedown of the categories so folks know what they're coming to?
And it's kind of an interesting story because last year we did allow aircraft into the miscellaneous, and some of the armor heads were, wait a minute, this is largely a armor museum, and is this going to be an armor show or an airplane show? And that was a big topic of conversation after the show last year. And the reality is, the museum, although it's not tiny, there's 20-something vehicles occupying a lot of space of the museum, and therefore we are limited, and we are keeping it this year to all armor, but we do have a figure category, and we do have a diorama category. I didn't get a chance to say it earlier, we added paper panzer or fictional tanks, and that was done so maybe some of the sci-fi guys could participate.
Yep.
And but yeah, largely 99% armor.
Now, does admission to the contest get you admission to the museum as well?
That's a great question, Dave. And the museum has been extremely generous with this. I mean, it's almost too good to be true. Is they charge the regular admission for people coming to the show, whether you're a contestant or just coming to see the museum / the show. And our event creates an event for them to have a great day. So basically, we get to use the museum, they get to take the admission to get into the museum, and then how we make our money is by contestants paying to enter their builds in the contest, and of course, like, we hold a raffle.
Gotcha. Do you all have vendors? Does this
yes,
particular
and as a matter of fact, again, last year we had a good vendor room. This year we're going to have a great one, limited by size, and we are sold out, and we expect it to be a very good vending room. We actually had to turn, unfortunately, some people away because of space.
Mike and I are trying to figure out, we're of course going to be in San Marcos, and we are trying to figure out a way to work a visit to this particular museum into our travel, either on the way down or on the way back.
It really, believe it or not, is not out of the way from how you're coming. And it's definitely worth the stop. I mean, again, all the artifacts, the restored vehicles, every one of them runs. Now, granted, when you roll in August, they're not going to be running, but they do twice a year hold living history events where they actually take the tanks out and run them around.
Nice.
Well, we talked a little bit about it before we started here tonight, but I think one thing you've got going for this show is, at least sounds like in your area, and certainly up here where we are, it's kind of one of the earliest shows of the new year season here.
Yeah, and we were talking, like, it possibly could be this year the first show. Last year, San Antonio show was before us. This year, they're February 11th, right after us. But it's definitely the first show anywhere near Texas. And again, it could be throughout the United States. And, the whole intention when we thought this up was post-Christmas, post-holidays, here in Texas, January is our winter, right? January, February, why not have something while everybody's trapped inside, and then cross your fingers that we're not getting like an ice storm, during that. And I was just funny, right before we got on, I was checking the extended forecast, and it's going to be a wicked low of 48 on Saturday and high of 55. So it is going to be a little bit of a winter day here in Texas. But it's not
I'll take that any single day in January in Kentucky.
I think I saw the rain symbol too. So who knows, man? We might have a perfect, crappy winter day for WinterBlitz. So we're excited about that.
There you go.
Well, our first show up our way in our region is Columbus, Ohio, and it's gained the moniker over the years of Blizzard Con.
Really?
Yeah.
When is that held?
That is held in February, and I attended the contest, the event where it actually got the name Blizzard Con, because they got like 12 inches of snow and it shut down 13 miles of the interstate highway. So
Did you make it? Did you make it to the show?
Yeah, well, it wasn't making it to the show the problem. The blizzard hit while we were at the show. Normally it's a 3-hour drive from Columbus to Louisville, 3:15, whatever. That particular evening, it took over 5.5 hours to get home.
Oh, well, listen, if something like that hit Texas, you would just not get home that night. I mean,
well, Brandon, we appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else, Dave, you want to ask?
Nope, I think that's got it covered. And like I said, Mike and I are trying to figure out how to work in a visit to the museum during our San Marcos travels.
Excellent. And I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in San Marcos.
All right. Well, how about before we sign off here that you give us the location and date and the name of the show one more time?
All right. It is WinterBlitz 2023, Saturday, January 21st, 2023. The website for any additional information is winter-blitz.com. And we're expecting to have a big show. We're hoping for over 300 armor and figure builds. And you know, one other thing, the theme is 1943. So if anybody's listening, wants to come out and check out some cool stuff with a theme of 1943, we'll have it.
Well, thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
It's our pleasure.
You have a great show.
This is going to be the start of maybe doing a little more for these shows.
Yeah. Right. You have a great show. You take care.
Thank you, Dave.